we've spent so much time trying to stay away from the stigma of baby mama and you know, creating babies,
Right.
At this rapid pace. And now there's this other shame associated with the fact that maybe by the time I settle and I'm ready to actually have children, that now I can't.
Right.
So it's this double-edged sword that we're kind of dealing with. But statistically speaking, we marry and settle a decade later than our white counterparts. So that means that there's nothing biologically wrong with us. But culturally, we're in a space where by the time we are ready to put our families together, unfortunately, our bodies are doing something, I don't want to say it's working in opposition to what our goals are, but it does make it more difficult at this age to try to start a family. So why aren't we talking about it? Why aren't we talking about it when typically a black woman will not get married until after the age of 33? Yet we don't hear very much about, about some of the challenges that happen because of that.
Really? Yeah, you threw out a lot of information right there. So
Ray's trying to digest it.
Yeah, I'm processing.
Trying to digest it.
And so one of the things you mentioned was the fact that typically it's a decade later prior to black women trying to conceive. And so is that something that you've seen consistently? It's typically into their 30s when they start trying to conceive?
Certainly, and particularly as women are more and more into education and focusing on, their education, they kind of get really tunnel visioned as far as relationship compared to, I think about myself as I was going through school. Much of the black women weren't in relationships, but many of the Caucasians were already married. And many times before they even got to residency, which is in their 20s, early 20s. And so, yeah, it is a big issue, and we have to also understand advanced maternal age, and where you have to actually start seeing a specialist in maternal fetal medicine is age 35.
Okay.
And so you're like, wow, I'm already advanced maternal age at 35, and for us that's just the beginning. We're just getting our life started. We're like excited and we're looking forward to the future. And it's true, as we get older it becomes more and more difficult. The eggs are older, and so you have more complications as far as genetic diseases, and then in general it's just more difficult. The organs are they're different, and then you add fibroids on top, or any other kind of I guess woman's disease, and it can be very challenging.
I mean, it's interesting you pointed to the education component, because black women are the most educated segment of people in the world,
Right.
Regardless of gender, ethnicity. Y'all are at the top. Y'all know that. But when you look at, I think, some of the solutions, because I've heard some of my female friends that are around that age, and they're early to mid 30s, they start talking about freezing their eggs. And so I don't know, is that something that has been found to be a solution? Because again, I'm just on the outside, I hear different things, they talk to me about it. I'm like, okay, I just try to understand and make sure I'm knowledgeable about it. But is that something that you guys are doing?
Good question. That's something probably, I guess, in the last 10 years or so that's up and coming in terms of thinking about those things, because and it's becoming a trend, not just in black or African American women. Is that women are getting married older because we're pursuing education, and so sometimes that further delays our pursuit for settling down or getting married. And so, yeah, people have talked about it. There's not much